Out of here, the FISA Court finds a massive government violations of Fourth Amendment. 138-page ruling by U.S. District Court Judge James E. Boasberg of the Foreign Intelligence Service.
That took you by surprise.
You didn't see this coming.
Well,
this is the first you've heard of this.
Well, what's so surprising is that this particular judge actually found that there were Fourth Amendment violations.
He must have really good glasses because the other judges weren't finding.
Well, no, this judge hasn't found them in the past. So what's really surprising is that this particular judge has ruled that there were Fourth Amendment violations, specifically in everything leading up to the Trump spying, literally the Trump spying. Mm-hmm. And it's important to note because this is the twist on the whole thing. The FISA court itself is unconstitutional.
What?
So them complaining about unconstitutional acts is the pot calling the kettle black.
But isn't their argument because it exists, it can't be unconstitutional?
Well,
that's a pretty good argument.
Well, the argument, and this leads to just what we've been seeing lately in the news, is that they go out to especially the Five Eyes, the British, and the various Commonwealth partners in our little axis of spying to get around these laws, and they're not doing it. This is Snowden's warning to us, and it's come true. Jeb Bush, I hope you watch one of these days. I was right, you were wrong, and the point was that Jeb and I had a discussion, and he asked me.
It's true, I was there.
He was there,
yeah.
and I was shocked by his reaction to what I said. I thought it was completely, saying something that could not be taken wrong, and boy was it. But it ended up, he asked me who was harmed by the spying, the NSA. And that's exactly what this case is. And I said, you are harmed because they will look at your stuff just like they will anybody else's. Mm-hmm. And what we're finding is that this case is all about whether or not they look at the mass amount of surveillance that they just collect from all of us.
So a little history written by Steve Bias here, this piece. I think it's Yahoo News, but like I was saying...
New American.
New American.
Can we please clap for Jeb first?
You got to give up all these politics to say.
Please clap.
The 1978...
I'm a little tired.
So the history on this, for some that don't know, 1978 Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the FISA, was sold to Congress as a public... and the public as a way to intercept the communications of agents of foreign governments and terrorist groups, not those of U.S. citizens. But amendments to the original FISA law passed after September 11th, 2001. The attacks on the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon have allowed the government to essentially surveil anyone, foreign or domestic, which would also include our current president.
Yeah.
Yes,
Makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that our biggest enemies are not foreign. Our biggest enemies are domestic
What are
neighbors.
their names, David?
Sadly,
List them.
There's like 30,000 of them.
I think 435 members of Congress will start there.
Well, that's a good start.
I like my congressmen.
CNN had a graphic of, they listed about 40 different Republicans who were silent on the impeachment issue. Why don't you list everything else people are silent about? Talk about reporting on negatives.
David Oldham makes a really good point when he says, your pledge, your oath of office, almost all of them contain the phrase, to defend and protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Constitutionally, support the Constitution.
Okay, support. Yeah, so the point is, there are going to be people, domestic, in this country, who are an enemy of the Constitution.
Oh, yes.
And they don't know that they need to look in the mirror sometimes and ask, sir, are you an enemy of the Constitution?
But how can you be an enemy of the Constitution if it means anything you want it to mean?
Yeah.
Well, that becomes the rub, and that comes down to what are we individually doing to support the Constitution, to support, obey, and defend it.
Okay.
Because we individually are the ones that are allowing this to happen, because we're not talking about it. We're not making it a point of political discussion. There's political issues, and then there are constitutional issues. The constitutional issues can't come up for a vote because they're locked solid in the Constitution. The political issues are those that are allowed a vote.
Okay, now
And they merge the two.
to defend the Constitution, did not Jefferson say if a law passed by Congress is in contradiction of the Constitution, you have permission to oppose it? Or what was his words?
If you read that at a courthouse, though, I think you can be
No.
arrested. So I
Well,
don't
you'll be
think
hassled because
I
they
don't
don't
think he
really have
said
it in
that.
there.
I was
But-
baiting Oldham here. Did he say you have permission to, or did he not say you have a duty?
He said it's a duty. And the Declaration of Independence, in fact, it was the epiphany that led me into the journey that I'm on now, was realizing that it is a lawful duty to overthrow the tyranny that
what legal authority does that guy's opinion have?
Okay.
only it being the unanimous first lawful document of the United States of
He owns
America.
slaves.
That's
Checkmate.
it.
Checkmate.
But
Can't listen to him.
so I'm saying that to say this, folks. If you want to ask yourself, what can I do to defend the Constitution? Find some law and break it if it's unconstitutional.
Well, I wouldn't recommend.
And then
Okay.
and then profit.
Tom has resigned from the program.
I'm a moderate.
Weak knee.
And then as your savings dissolve into nothingness and your life goes
I
down a
think
void,
an
just know that you were right.
An easier suggestion would be don't shy away from political and religious discussion. Engage people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Go ahead and contend politely if they're polite, and then
Yeah.
sling insults if they
That's
do.
the first start. That's the first step. The second step is literally like Mahatma Gandhi, just sitting down and not complying with whatever the edict is.
Okay.
The problem is, and this is how to do it
You have a Mahatma
without it.
Gandhi
Well,
joke?
no. This is how to. This
Yeah,
is how
that
to
guy
do
said
it.
racist stuff. You can't listen to him.
He just marched.
Well, this is how to do it bloodlessly. The problem is that they're using guns, and so it's not going to be bloodless. We are going to have shed the blood of patriots. The question is how much blood of tyrants are going to be
So
shed.
how much
Because right now they're
dehydrated
not happening.
food should your average patriot have?
I'm impressed that he's quoting Mahatma Gandhi. I got in trouble for quoting Socrates.
Sure.
I worked hard with that young man. He was a good kid, and they killed. Yes, I worked hard with that young man. I'm proud of him.
And to think they named your street after Hemlock.
Yeah. What the heck is that? Yeah, I still don't understand how they can pretend to run for office, say they're going to uphold the Constitution while saying they want to get rid of the Second Amendment. I don't understand how that can even happen.
Any good politician isn't
Well-
saying anything about policy.
Well, right now, Beto's not having
I must be
politician.
talking about somebody
He's the
else.
politician on the table.
Beto's not having much success with we're gonna take your ARs. But the point is that they get away with it because they have enough of our neighbors who are domestic enemies,
Yeah.
who are in flagrant violation and rejection of the Constitution that would enshrines them rights.
Mostly through their ignorance. Mostly. Most of them just don't know better. They were taught in public schools.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm not. That's why I'm
Or
not
soon to be
in-
top 10 public schools.
That's why I'm not calling for armed rebellion against these people, because we have to try to reach them because they haven't been reached. This message is brand spanking new.
You
if
just
stop
have to
and
make
think
a
about
good
it.
enough intellectual argument, and then they'll go, "Oh, that's rational, and it makes sense."
Sure.
The problem will be solved.
No. They need to be warned before what happens next happens, because they need to get right
Are
with
you talking
with
about the
society.
electric boogaloo? What are you talking about?
Well, they need to get right with the Constitution, because there is coming a point in time where we need to reestablish law and order, because what we have is not law and order. What's called law and order and has the tag law and order is pure lawlessness. There's no resemblance of constitutional conduct of these people in what they're doing. I'm having a conversation
Hard to
with a
argue
lady
with
who's
that.
watching right now who has been going through this same kind of thing down in Texas. There's true law and order starts with obedience to the Constitution. And only then, and then constitutional laws out of that, only then do you have law and order. If you have people usurping power, stealing power that they don't rightly have, and just by force of the gun, enforcing it,
That's
enforcing it on the rest of
precedent, and precedent is